Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Good. Okay, so let's see what all we have done in the last lecture. Okay, and then we will move ahead. So in the last lecture, we have started with um, component communication. Okay, so how do you communicate with your parent-child communication? How do you do the parent-child communication? Okay, so if you have a child component, then how can you pass the data from your parent to child? And if you have a parent component, and if you want to pass the data from child to parent, how can we do it? Okay, so we have created a simple star component for that. Okay, I started it. I'll go. So you can see we have created a simple star component here. Okay, and each and every product will have a different star rating. Okay, so it has a 4.8, is 4.5, 4 rating. So accordingly, we wanted to display the number of stars. Okay, so here the data is basically passed from your product list to your app star component. The star component, we have created it as a separate component because this can be reutilized. Okay, and it is basically modular. That's the reason we have created it as a separate component, because it can be used for product rating, it can be used for reviews ratings, it can be used for customer feedback as well. So we can use it everywhere. Okay, so we have created a separate component for that, and we have generated a component, and we also seen the how to display stars. Okay, and we have applied some logic based on some stylings and all. Okay, and we have shown, like, based on the star icon size, how we can display the icons based on the rating. Okay, so how do you pass the data from your product list or parent to your star? By using property binding. Okay, so we have created a property called as rating. Okay, and we have passed the rating value to the particular rating property. Now, the app star component, how can it accept it as a rating property? Okay, for to do that, we have used a rating variable here, and we can use as many variables as we want in a component, but all variables cannot be a property. Okay, so if you want to make this variable as a property of that particular component, then we declare it as a @input decorator. Okay, so when we declare that variable using @input decorator, it becomes a property of the star component. Okay, we have a star width variable as well, but the star width variable is not a property. Only rating is a property because it is declared with @input decorator. Okay, so the data can be passed through this rating. Okay, we have seen that when you use the same rating variable inside a constructor, okay, and we calculate the star width based on the rating, we cannot see the rating here. Okay, the number of stars here, because constructor occurs before your components is created. Okay, or before your component is initialized. When your component object is created, at that time only constructor is called. Okay, but how can we then check that my rating, I got the rating from my parent? Okay, for that we can use the lifecycle hooks for your component. We have seen 8 lifecycle hooks. Okay, out of them we have seen like on changes and on init. Okay, we also have a ng on destroy, ng on after init, after view init, after view changes, view init, view changes. Okay, we have a lot of like this. We have 8 different lifecycle methods. Okay, but out of this, these 3 are most important: on init, on changes, and on destroy. Okay, so for this we have seen like on changes will occur every time at the first. Okay, whenever there is a property change. Okay, or there is a property, input bound property. If there is no input bound property, then on changes will not occur, only on init will be called. Okay, we have seen this last time, last lecture. And on changes is the first lifecycle hook method that will be called at the first. Okay, we can see that on init is there, but by looking at the name itself, we can say that it's an initialization method, but it is not the first method which has been called. The on changes is the first method which has been called. Okay, so after constructor, when your component is created, your on changes will be called, and then after that ng on it will be called. And all of the init methods Okay, all of the init lifecycle hooks, okay, will be called only once at the start. On changes will be called every time whenever there is a rating or property input property changes. Okay, so we have seen that in the last lecture when we um, changed or calculated the star width based on the rating. The first time the rating based on the rating, the uh, you can we have seen that the number of stars displayed here. Okay, but when we change it from outside of here or the rating is changed dynamically, then in that case the value is not changed. Okay, now we have seen that by creating a button here, and that when you click on that button, the rating I changed the rating, but the rating is not reflected in your star component. Okay, because component is already created and on it will be called only once. Okay, so if you want to capture that property whenever there is a property change, we can use on changes. So whenever there is input property change, we can use on changes, and the rating you will get a rating, updated rating here, and then based on that rating we can calculate the star width. Okay, and that will be displayed. Now, this is how you can pass the data from your parent to child by using input property binding. Okay. Now, how do you pass the data from your child to parent? We can use event binding. Okay. So we have created a rating change event. Like we have a click event. We have created our own custom event, rating change. Okay. This rating change event is basically nothing but a variable here. Okay. And that variable is initialized with new event emitter object, because whenever there is a event emitter, there should be event emitter object. Okay. And it should be declared with at the rate output decorator. We can specify what type of data it can emit. So we have here, it is going to emit a number. So we have said number here. So whenever I click on any of this star, okay, I'm changing the rating 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, and it is basically sending the rating from a change rating using rating change dot emit method. So emit method will basically emit an event, and whatever the value that you pass it here, that can be captured using dollar event object here. Okay, so this is provided by Angular for you, and that event object we can get it here, and then we have changed the product rating. Okay, by passing the product object, we have changed the product rating by whatever the rating has been clicked. So here if I click on this 2, then the rating will change to 2. If I click on 4, the rating will change to 4. Okay, so this basically the product rating is changed, and through input property binding, the rating has been passed to your app star. Okay, and based on on changes, we have again calculated the star bit, and it is displaying the stars based on the rating. So this is how we have verified that on changes is called every time when there is whenever there is a rating or input bound property changes. Okay, um, so this is what we can this is how we can basically communicate between a parent and child. From parent to child, we use input property binding. For child to parent, we use output event binding. Okay, one question here. Okay, so let's say there are like 5 star, I'm displaying it here. Okay, now I can use 10 stars as well. Okay, I can use 20 stars, whatever. What if I want to display it multiple times? How can we do it? Like we are displaying the same thing 5 times. Okay, how can we do it if I want to display it multiple times? Anyone? If I want to display this star multiple times, like 5 times for now, so how can we display?
Maybe using a loop component like how we did for the
Range for
product.
Correct. We can use a loop. Okay. So, but how do you use a loop? If you use a loop here, let's say, uh, this I'm putting it in next line, I, and here if I use ng for star ng for equals to, okay, and here I let's say let, okay, now on which array should I replace it to? Loop through. There is no array here. There is no array, right?
Range, maybe we can use range thing.
Range, there is no function called as range in JavaScript. Yeah, but we can use one variable. Let's say, uh, mm,
Star count.
ratings करके ले लेते हैं. And here we can use array dot uh, fill, I guess. Is there a method called as array dot, let's say, I don't remember, JavaScript array create array of n length. Huh. So, array dot from, yeah. See, we can use this method array dot from method, and then we can pass array of 10 dot keys. We can use this. So here, if I say array dot from, okay, and I can pass a iterable array dot, no, array of 10. Okay, array of length 10. Actually, array of length 10 will create a array itself, right? I don't need. So array of array constructor. It returns array constructor. So let's say if I print layer ratings here, just let's see this dot ratings. Let's see what happens. Inspect. So okay, we have an array, okay, with length 10. Okay, it is creating an object. Okay, now if you want to create an array, so we can create array dot from, okay, array dot length dot, we can use keys for it. This is a function. Now let's see. Now you can see the array has been created with 0 to 10. Okay. So if I want to create an array of 5 elements, you can use array of 5. It will create array of 5 elements. Okay. So this way we can create ratings and we can loop through that rating. So rating, let's say R of ratings. And then we can use this R here. Okay. R, now if I use R here, so it will like 0, 1, 2, 3. So I can use R plus 1. Okay. And then I can remove this stuff. So now you can see if I click on this, you can see 3 rating. If I click on this 2, 2 rating. Okay, so 2 is been passed. So that's how we can create multiple elements as well. Okay. But sometimes if you have a, let's say, object here, okay, and you want to get the index for each and every element, and each and every element of an array, then you can use colon let index or variable equals to I. Okay, sorry, I equals to index. Index is a variable which is provided by Angular itself when you loop through a particular array. Okay, so this I can directly use it here. Okay, index. Okay, that's index. My index will basically 0, 1, 2, 3. So I need to use I plus 1. Yeah. So if I refresh it here, if I click on this, you can see 3. If I click on 4, you can see 4. Okay. So if I want to get an index, okay, then I can use this one. Okay, let I equals to index. And this index is basically provided by Angular itself. Okay. Now I already have a R which has an index, so I can use this R here itself. Okay, but I just wanted to show you that if you want to access an index, then you can access the index like this.
It's like that enumerate thing, right?
Yes,
Where we. Mhm.
yes. Okay, understood everyone?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now if you want to try this out, you can just try it out. Okay, then we'll move on to the next one for today's topic. Okay. Now we are saying like how if you want to transfer the data from your parent to child, we can use input bound property. Okay, input bound property. And if you want to use if you want to transfer data from your child to parent, we can use output event binding. Okay. Now what if your components are not parent child? What if they are like siblings? or if your child is like 2D, okay, it can be like grandchildren, grandchild, you can be grandparent, okay, whatever. In that case, passing a data from parent to child will be like a lot of steps will be there, and there will be like tight dependency, tight coupling, you can say. Because if you have a grandchild, then you have to pass the data from your parent to grandchild. For all the child, you'll have to pass the data. Okay, so that is like you can say there will be tight coupling, dependency is there for every component. Okay, and let's say you don't have a parent child relationship, you have a component in one page, then you have another component another page, and let's say one component is both the components are the same page but they are siblings. Okay, so in that case, how can we pass the data? Okay, so you need a common way to pass the data. Okay, there can be like one thing, you can create a class object. Okay, you can create a simple class, and you can create a variable, and then you can use that variable to um, pass the data. Okay, let's see if I want to do this, then how can I do it? Okay, so let's consider one thing. We have a add to cart button here. Okay, so when I click on add to cart button, let's add a icon here. Okay, card icon, and on that card icon, I just want to display the whatever the card value that I pass, I want to display it here. Okay, how can I do it? So first of all, let's get that icon first, then we will implement the rest of the stuff. So I go to icons and let's use some card. Okay, so we have a card here. I'll use this card, copy. Okay. I want to display this card here besides toggle theme. So I'll go to app component.html, and after this button, I'll add this icon. But if I do this, this will display the icon here. Okay, but it is displaying it in black color. Okay, I want to change it to white color. Okay, let's use the button. Okay, so I want to use button. If there is a, let's go to the documentation here and use the buttons. Buttons. I'll use the primary one. Copy, paste. Okay, let's forget about this button. Let's see if we have a, let's say we have this icon. I want to show the number besides it. So I'll need a badge here. Okay, so let's use a badge. Okay, here in the badge, you can say, you will find, see this type of button I can use it. So I'll copy this, paste it here. And I'll just cut it from here. Instead of inbox, I'll say a cart, okay, icon. If I use this and refresh my page, you'll see the cart button here, and we have a number here. Okay, I don't want to show 99 plus, I just want to show 0 for now. Okay, and I don't need this, I'll remove this one. Refresh, you will see 0 number of items are there. So if I click on this add to cart, I should see the number here updated. Okay, right now we'll not be able to do it real time. Okay, we'll have to send the data from here, and then when I click on this, I should get the data. Later on we will see how to do it real time. Okay, for that we'll need to understand RxJS. So we'll understand RxJS first, and then we will implement in real time. Okay, now let's say now our initial step is done. So we have created a card icon. We have this number here. Okay, so we can just this now we want to do one thing. Create one class. Okay, use the object of that class, and then uh, pass the data from this one from this parent, or let's say product list component, to your app component. Okay, so for that we can create a class. So let's say I create a class here. Okay, new file, I'll say product, let's say common data for now, common data.ts. Okay, I'll create a class, export class common data. Okay, and in this class, let's say I define a variable, card count. Okay, and its initial value is 0. I'll define one variable, let's say increment card count. Okay, and it will not so it will not return anything. So I'll just say this dot card count plus plus. Okay, and there is one more method. Let's say decrement count. We can use it for like when we have a shopping cart. Then in that case we can use minus minus to decrement the count. And since I want this variable to be private, so I'll define it as a private because I don't want this variable to be updated directly from outside of this class. Okay, so you can declare it as a private because it can be updated this to through this method only. Okay, it can be either incremented or it can be either decremented. It cannot directly change from 0 to 5 directly. Okay, so we can have a private variable, but how we can access this variable outside, because we need a card count. So in that case we can use that card count variable function here. Okay, and it will return a number. So I'll say return this dot card count. Okay, so I have created a class. Okay, which has a property, variable. We have created methods to update the variable. We have created a method to get the variable. Okay, so now let's access it on your product list component. Okay, because we have a add to cart function button here. Okay, and add to cart button basically is basically updating the cart number. Okay, so here we already have this add to cart. Okay, so here I want to update the cart number. Okay, so we have a common data. I'll just put it aside here. Now how can I do it? Let's say in the constructor I create a variable of this. Okay, create a variable here, common data, which is of type common data. Now let's consider it as a null. Okay, starting may it will be null. And in the constructor, I'll create this dot common data equals to new common data. So I created an object. Now I want to update its variable. So this dot common data dot increment card count. Okay. So this will just increment the card count. Okay. Let's see whether it is incrementing or not. I'll do console log here, and I'll do this dot card count plus plus, and we'll console log it. Okay, let's see whether this is updating or not. So clear. Okay, I can see the common data line number 6. I'm seeing 1. If I do again 2, 2. Okay, so again 3. So you can see my data is been updated. Okay, the card count is updated. Now let's try to access it in app component. Okay, let's go to app component.
सर थोड़ा फास्ट हो रहा है सर.
काफी फास्ट हो रहा है सर.
Okay. By the way, is this understood? Like I have created a class and I just created a variable here. Okay. Uh, let's go to this. I'll explain it again. Okay, no worries.
सर ये कार्ट वाले से स्टार्ट करो ना वापस. सो सॉरी फॉर सेइंग दिस सो लेट बट
हाँ
अब ऐसा रियलाइज हो गया कि फास्ट हो गया करके.
ठीक है चलेगा. No problem. So let's see कि यहाँ से ना I'll explain it again. No worries.
Yes sir.
So first we needed a functionality where we want to add a product to a cart. Okay, so let's forget about adding a product to a cart. Okay, so when I click on this add to cart button, I just want to increment the value here. Okay, so we have a 0 value. So for displaying this cart, we have used a bootstrap icon, cart icon, and to display a badge, we have used badge. Okay, so I just copied it from here and pasted it in like app component. Okay, so in our app component, you can see here, I just copied and pasted it here. Okay, and inside this button, I just displayed a cart icon and 0 value. So based on this, we can see a cart icon with 0 value here. Okay, 0 count. Now, when I click on this add to cart, now this add to cart is in product list component. Okay, and this card icon is an app component. So these are two different components. Okay, although they are parent and child. Okay, let's consider that this is like a uh, sibling compounds. Okay, let's not consider them as a parent and child. Let's consider them that as a sibling compound, or let's say they are two different components. They don't have any relation with them. Okay, they are not parent child. They are not siblings. They are not any parent or child. Okay? They are different components, and they want to share the data. Share the data means what? Okay, when I click on this add to cart button, okay, your count should be updated here. Okay. Now to update this data, we need some common variable, okay, through which we can pass this data from your add to cart product list component to your app component. Okay. Now, if I want to pass this data, I need an object. Okay. So for that, what I have done is I have created a class. So there is a class common data. So this common data basically has one variable card count. Okay. I have initialized it with 0. I have created two variables methods, increment card count and decrement card count. Okay, and there is one more method to get a card count. Why I have declared get card count method? Because this card count variable should only be updated through these two methods. Okay, if I update it directly from outside of this class, then I can directly say card count to 0 to 5. Okay, so I can directly update it. So it shouldn't be should not be like that. I should only increment it or I can decrement it. Okay, so I cannot directly update the card count. So that's the reason I have made it private. So anybody cannot access this variable outside of this class. Okay, but how can I get this value? Uh, if I want to get it, we can use get card count method to get the value. Okay, so till now, is it clear? How
Yes,
you
Yes.
sir.
okay, so now this class is created. Now I want to increment the value of card count. So I'm going to product list component here. Okay. So here, and when I say add to cart. Okay, so add to cart is a function which has been called when I click on any of this button. Okay, if I click on add to cart, wherever I click on this, it will be add to cart function will be called. Okay, so in this I want to increment the value. Okay, so I need to create an object of this common data first. So I have created a variable here. Then in the constructor I'm creating an object of common data. Then when I click on add to cart, I am calling increment cart count function. Okay, I just want to check whether this is actually incrementing the cart count or not. So I just printed log here. Okay, so when I click on add to cart button, okay, so you can see the number has been updated. Previously it was 3. I can refresh the page. Okay, and now if you see add to cart, so you can see the number has been updated on the line number 6. So here it is 1 now. Okay. If I again click on it, we will see the 2. That means my card count is updating. If I click on this button as well, you will see the number is 3. If I click on this as well, you'll see the 4. That means every add to cart button is actually updating the card count value. Okay. Now this is updating my value. Okay. Now till this, is it understood?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then the next thing is when I click on this, I want to update it here. I want to get the value here, right? So first thing is like you cannot directly get a real-time value, okay? Because these two are different components, okay? To get it in real time, either I can use a set interval, which will basically check, continuously check whether the value has been changed or not, okay? Or other thing you can do is I can update it through here, and when I click on this, I'll get the updated value, okay? Let's see how we can do it. So we can go to app component here.
सर इतना रेप्लिकेट कर ले क्या लाइक इफ यू
हाँ
डोंट माइंड
चलेगा, इतना रेप्लिकेट कर लो, देन क्या, इतना पहले लिख लो.
तो पहले स्टार का बताओ.
हाँ चलो, ये एक्चुअली बाद में रिमूव करना है पूरा कोड. इसलिए मैं आगे का ले रहा था, बट ठीक है चलेगा, आप तब तक लिखो. यू कैन ऑल्सो रिमूव दैट.
बैच के लिए कौन सा बूटस्ट्रैप वाला यूज किया है? नाम क्या है उसका? कार्ड का
बैच
जो
के
बैच
लिए,
है।
हाँ, यहाँ पे यू कैन गो टू बैचेस. यहाँ पे बैच, बटन के ऊपर जो बैच है ना, वो यूज कर, कॉपी कर. और यहाँ पे इनबॉक्स की जगह पे यू कैन ऐड दिस कार्ट आइकॉन वाला.
पोजीशन एब्सोल्यूट टॉप से। कॉमन डेटा, कॉमन डेटा, प्रोडक्ट लिस्ट कंपोनेंट, टीएस, add to cart dot component, this dot common data dot ts. Export class, private,
Done.
Done.
2 ही मिनट से 2 मिनट प्लीज.
Okay.
सर मुझे स्टार में थोड़ा डाउट है.
स्टार में.
हाँ, वो स्टार का किया ना हम लोगों ने NG4 लगा के.
हाँ हाँ, बोलो ना.
तो सर वो मेरा डबल स्टार आ रहा है NG4 लगाने के बाद. बताओ, 1 मिनट स्क्रीन शेयर करूँ.
हाँ ठीक है. Sure. आपने 2 बार ऐप स्टार यूज किए
ऐप.
प्रोडक्ट लिस्ट में?
1 मिनट. प्रोडक्ट लिस्ट में. ये रहा ऐप स्टार, एक ही तो है.
एक ही बार है. ठीक है, वहां पे जाओ.
कहाँ पे?
अपना
जियो.
ब्राउजर पे इस पे इंस्पेक्ट करो. अच्छा, आपने 10 लिखा है. एरे. एरे.
ओके.
स्टार लिस्ट कंपोनेंट.
स्टार कंपोनेंट.
एरे ऑफ 10.
कॉमन डेटा इंपोर्ट कर दें क्या सर? मुझे एरर दे रहा है कि कॉमन
हाँ,
डेटा
इंपोर्ट
नॉट फाउंड.
करना पड़ेगा ना, अदरवाइज वो आप ऑब्जेक्ट कैसे क्रिएट कर पाओगे. मेरा ऑटो इंपोर्ट हो गया वहां पे. when you write common data here, so वो यहाँ पे ऑटोमेटिकली इंपोर्ट होता है. यहाँ पे रिमूव कर दिया ना, तो इट विल गिव मी एरर. यहाँ पे कॉमन डेटा डाल दोगे तो आपको इंपोर्ट आ जाएगा. इंपोर्ट कर ऑटोमेटिकली इंपोर्ट हो जाएगा.
टॉपिक का नाम क्या है?
किसका? आज का
हाँ.
कंपोनेंट कम्युनिकेशन ही है, बट आगे हम लोग सर्विस को इंट्रोड्यूस करेंगे.
ओके.
इज इट डन?
यस सर.
ओके. बाकी सब लोग का भी हुआ है ना? अरे बाकी सब लोग को समझ में आ रहा है ना? किसी को कोई डाउट्स? ओके. सागर. Good. What about Samir, Priyanka, Sonali, Balaji, Rishikesh, Pranati? Okay, good. Now, see, we have incremented the value, okay, and we are also getting the incremented, like we are also saying when we increment the value is getting incremented. Now let's go to app component, okay, and let's try to get this value. So here we are using 0, okay. I want to get this value, okay, from your common data, okay. So I'll go to app component, and in this I need an object of common data. Then only I will be able to get the value, okay. So let's create a constructor here again. And if I go and create common data object of common data, okay. So it is imported. Can use exclamation for now. I have to create this dot common data equals new common data. Okay. Now, if I want to get this value, new dot common data dot get card count. Okay. So I can go to app component.html, and here I can say this dot common data dot get card count. Okay, but this basically I cannot directly get it. Okay, I need to do some click, okay, or button. So I'll not write directly it here. Okay, I'll create one more variable. Let's say card count equals to 0. Okay, and I'll create a function get count. Okay. So it will return a number and will return this dot get dot common data dot get count. Okay, now I need to call this function. Okay. I don't need to return it actually. I need to assign it to this dot card count variable. Okay, this variable I'm assigning, so there is no return. I'll just use this get card count method here on the button itself. So I'll just write it in the next line. On click of this, I'll call get card count and I will use card count here. Okay. So this card, instead of let's say card count, I will use card variable so that it will cat value card value. Okay. So card value, and card value. So here what I'm doing is I'm getting the card count value using get card count method. Okay. And it is assigning the value to card value variable. And then I'm displaying it here. Okay. Let's see what happens. Okay. So it is refreshed, clear. If I click on this, it's 1. Click on this 2. Okay. So I have updated value as 2. But if I click on this, the value is 0. Okay. The value is still 0. So let's see what is happening here. Whether the get count method is getting called or not, let's check it out. Okay. So I'll check log get count. Let's see whether this method is called or not. So if I refresh, clear, add to card count 2. If I click on this, you can see get count method is getting called. Okay. I'm again clicking on it. It is still getting called. That means this method is variable is getting called or method is called. But what happened to this card value? Okay, let's check it out. I'll check the card value, comma get this dot card value. What card value I'm getting? Let's check it. Refresh, click 1, 2. If I click on this, you can see get count. I'm getting 0. Value was updated 2, but I'm getting 0. I'm again clicking on it. I'm still getting 0. If I click on it, you can see that value is incremented to 3. Okay. But if I'm clicking on this, I'm still getting 0. Okay. Can anybody tell me what is the problem here? I'll keep these two codes side by side. Okay. Can anybody tell me what is the problem here? By the way, understood? We are getting what we are doing here. We are actually updating card count from here, and then we are getting it here. Okay. We are seeing that get count method is getting called. Okay. When I'm clicking on add to cart, the count is
Um,
updated. But when I'm
yeah,
clicking on the
we are
get,
getting it 0 because whenever we'll basically in app component, it will create a new instance of the common data class. And
correct,
as per new instance, the default value is 0.
correct. See, here what I'm doing is I'm creating a new instance, right? Here also I'm creating a new instance. So when you create a new instance, that means new memory is allocated. Okay. This common data and this common data both are pointing to two different memories. Okay. When I'm updating value or incrementing value from this, it is incrementing the value from in that memory. For product list common data memory, it is updating the count. Okay, that's the reason the count value is incrementing. But when I'm incrementing through or getting value from common data, the memory for this common data is different, and there the value is still 0, because the value updated is in another memory, and the value I'm getting is from another memory. Okay, so here, although the class is same, but the instance are different, we cannot access a common data. Okay, we cannot access a common data. So how can we achieve this? How can we do it as a common? Okay, there is no such thing called as static. Okay, you might, if you are coming from Java background, you might say that static variable we can create it in JavaScript, but there is no such variable called as static in JavaScript. Okay, we cannot create a static variable in JavaScript. Okay, so if anyone is from Java background, they might correlate it with but it's not like that. Anyone can guess, or anyone?
Can we pass a data from product? I mean, yeah,
Product
from
list to
product
app
to
component
app
using
component.
event binding, that is possible.
Yes.
Okay, but that's when you have a parent child relationship. Okay, right now we have that because product list is a child of parent app component. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but later on we will have a lot of other components. Okay, so in that case, let's say we want to pass the data from product list to another component which is not a parent of this product list. Then in that case, what we will do? Okay, then using input and output we cannot send it. Okay, either we can send it to from your child product list to app, and then app will send it to that child component, but that is like a long path. Okay, in Angular you'll have a lot of components, you'll have hundreds of components. How will you maintain this thing? Okay, that will basically increase the coupling, like it will be tight coupling. Okay, there will be a lot of dependencies between components, and creating a component is like you should create a different like independent component. Your component should be independent of each and every other component. Okay, it can be reusable. Okay, so in that case, if you are using one component here and another component, then your code will break. Okay, if you are just you're doing input and output. Okay, because in that another page, the component there can be different components. Okay, so input and output will not work here. So for this, we need a mechanism where we can have a single instance of this common data class. Okay, now we can achieve this. Okay, now in Angular we can achieve this. Okay, we use one design pattern for this. Okay, most of the people use design patterns, okay, unknowingly in Angular, okay, or any programming language, because frameworks are designed in such a way that they follow design patterns. Okay, you might have heard about these design patterns before as well, but you might not know, or might not uh, used or created, or you might not know that you are indirectly using those design patterns. Okay, because frameworks are designed in such a way that you will use them. So here Angular uses one design pattern called as dependency injection. Okay, so dependency injection is one of the design pattern which is used with various programming languages as well. Okay, here also in Angular we use dependency injection pattern. Dependency injection pattern is actually used by Angular internally, but we follow it indirectly. We don't know, we actually don't know that we are following that pattern, but that injection pattern we can use it also. Okay, now what is the dependency injection pattern is? Dependency injection means let's consider, I'll give an example. Let's consider we have a uh, student object, student class. We have a person class. Okay, let's say student class and a faculty teacher class. Okay, now both the objects, okay, both the classes, let's say have a common property, address field. Okay, both the classes have address field. Now, address field can be a separate class itself, because it can have other fields like city, zip code, okay, country, whatever. Now, when you have a different fields, we can create a separate class for that. Okay, either we can include all of those properties in uh, student and all of those properties in teacher, but that will be like redundancy. Okay, so we can create a separate class for it. Okay, but when you create an object of student class, okay, and you want to add an address, you will add a new create a new address, then you will add city, zip code, country for that address, and then you will attach that address object to your student class. Okay, and then you can create a student object. But if you want to create a object of teacher, okay, you'll again create a teacher object. For that, you want to add an address. You'll create a new object for that address, and then using that address, you can add its details like city, zip code for that teacher, and then you can attach that new address to your teacher, and then you can create a new teacher object. Now, in this case, we only have two objects where the address is where they are dependent on address. Let's say we have a lot of these objects, and we want the address is basically no, those all of these objects are dependent on this address object. Now, do I need to create address object for each and every object like student, teacher, or whoever wants to access it? Do I need to create a object for each and every other object? Is it required?
No.
No, correct. So it is not required. But so using only one object, I can do it. I can create only one object of address, and then I can fill the values and attach it to student. Then student object I can create it. I can use the same object to create a teacher's address, and I can assign its value and attach the values to teacher object, and then teacher object can be created. I can use the same address object for creating another object. Okay, the same object can be used with different objects to attach those values, because it is the same address class. Okay, by using this, we are actually minimizing the memory. We are actually utilizing memory in a less efficient, like most efficient way. Okay, we are using less memory, because if you are creating 100 objects, and for those 100 we need 100 address objects, the memory will be 100 times. Okay, and if you are using single address object for those all of those 100 objects, okay, the memory will be a single. Okay, it will be one time only, it will not be 100 times. Okay, this is one of the advantages, with one of the advantage of using single address object. Okay, second advantage is, let's say you have considered the first scenario where I am creating 100 objects for 100 different classes. Okay, for 100 different classes, I'm creating 100 address objects. Now consider that this address field has added one more field into it. Previously it has city, country, zip code. Now I am adding street address, street. Now this extra field and has been added. Now, if I want to change for each and every object, like I'm creating 100 different, like for 100 places, I'm doing this thing. Okay, for adding just this street field, I want how to change all of this code, right? All of the 100 places I have to change it. Okay, which is actually like you can have a human errors when you do this. Okay, so this is not possible. Like, it is possible, but it will time consuming. Okay, and you can make mistakes. Okay, so this is the problem with like you're creating multiple objects, because if you create a single object and use that single object for everywhere, then you don't need to worry about creating or using this object. Like, if you just change a class, and you just need to um, add that field in your class and make some changes in your class or function and use it everywhere. Okay, so that is the second advantage. Now, how can we achieve this? Basically, by the way, do you understand this concept, like the dependency? Understood, everyone? What is what are the problems with using the object for every class.
आई गेस
Yes.
प्रैक्टिकल में समझ जाएगा.
हाँ.
थियोरेटिकली बेस क्लियर है कि ओके मल्टीपल ऑब्जेक्ट से हैंडलिंग थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट है एंड सिंगल से हो जाएगा हैंडल.
यस, सी प्रैक्टिकली मैं दिखाने जाऊंगा तो बहुत टाइम लगेगा, इसलिए मैं प्रैक्टिकली नहीं दिखा रहा.
ओके ओके.
प्रैक्टिकली एक्चुअली अभी हमारे पास करंटली एग्जांपल वही है. यू कैन सी दैट द कॉमन डेटा, वी आर क्रिएटिंग टू ऑब्जेक्ट्स, right? So here the app component is dependent on common data, product list is also dependent on common data. I need to create two objects here, right?
Why we are doing that not colon thing, sir, on line 29 in app.ts?
Not colon thing, not this one.
Yes, sir.
When you add a not, na, this is a TypeScript thing. So you can assign an undefined value as well. Okay. So if you don't do this, na, then Angular gives you error, or either you need to define value in a constructor, or it will give you an error like it has not been initialized. Okay. There is a TypeScript rule that has been applied here. Okay. So whenever you create a variable, you should at least define its value. Okay, so either do it in a constructor or do it like exclamation. Okay, so undefined values can be acceptable.
And what's the need of creating the same constructor in both the product and app?
That's the thing we are going to resolve now.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so this is the actual what I'm telling you, the practical way. Okay, so here app component is dependent on common data, and product list is also dependent on common data. So we have created two different objects here, right? So by creating a two different object, basically they are accessing two different memories, and we are not able to share the data between them. Instead, we had only one object. Okay, the data would be shared between these two components, right? App component and product list component will share the same class, and the data will be shared between these two, right? So if we have only one object, only one reference. Right now, we are doing new for in both the classes. That's the reason there are two references created, two objects are created. So when you update one object, it is not reflected in another class because the object defined in another class is pointing a different location. Understood? Yes, Rajesh?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. So now to achieve this, okay, we have a dependency injection pattern. Now, a dependency injection, what it means is, so whenever you have a dependency, okay, so dependency is you don't need to create it. Okay, there is a dependency injector. Okay, you can call it as a dependency injector pool. Okay, you can say a memory pool. Okay, so that dependency injector is created by Angular itself. Okay, the Angular, what it does is a dependency injector, what it does is we just tell a dependency injector that this class is basically provided as a dependency injector. So whenever we need that class, we just ask this dependency injector that I need this class, object of this class. Okay, and dependency injector will be provide you the object. You don't need to create it. Now whatever we are doing it here like new, we don't need to do this. Okay, we just have to ask dependency injector that I need object of this common data. Okay, and dependency injector will provide. Okay, now what dependency injector will do, dependency injector will take care of creating an object of this. Okay, now in future if you add a new field to it, dependency injector will take care of it. You will just provide the constructor and all those things. Dependency injector will create all those fields for you, all those objects for you. Now when you ask object to that dependency injector, injector, it will first check whether the object is created in memory or not. If it is not created, then it will create a new object and it will provide you. If it is created, then it will not create that object, it will directly provide the same object to you. Okay, that means there is at any point of time in your application, there is only single instance of that object. Understood? So dependency injector's job is to provide the object of whatever class that you want. Okay, that's the job of your dependency injector. So understood this concept?
Sir, repeat करो ना एक बार.
Dependency injector. Okay.
Yes.
See, dependency injector है ना, एक you can consider एक like a global pool है memory का. Okay, I can explain it with diagram itself. Okay, let's see. Okay, so let's say this is our Angular application. Okay, and in this, let's say we have a memory here. Okay, let's call it as a dependency injector. Okay. I will name here. Okay, so this is dependency injector. Okay, now let's say we have two components. This is Angular's dependency injector. Okay, and we have two components here. Oops, sorry. Uh, this is the app component, and we have another product list component. We have a two different components.
Okay.
Okay. Now, okay. Now both of these components need object of this common data, right? So common data, both of these component will not create an object of it. Okay. So first, when I click on, let's say, add to cart, so product list component will ask for um, this common data object. Okay. Now what dependency injector will do, it will check in the memory whether the object of common data exists or not. Right now, there is no object. Okay. So what it will do, it will create a object of, let's say, common data here. I'll just define it using this. Okay. So here, let's say, I'll say common data, CM. Oops. Array. Array. Okay. So this is the object. Now product list is asking dependency injector for CM common data object. Previously it didn't have. So dependency injector has created a new object for this common data. Okay. Now it will provide you this object. Okay. So it has provided you this object. Okay, because it has a product list has called for this. Okay. So let's say the product list asks dependency injector for this object. Okay, and dependency injector has provided this object to product list. Okay, by creating a new object. Now app, when I click on this, okay, when I click on this, I'm again want to get the value of or let's say common data object, because the cart value is actually in the common data object. Okay, so I need an object of this. So it will again ask for this. So here we can say, so it is asking dependency injector now. Okay, for common data object. Now dependency injector has already has this common data object, so it will directly provide object to common app component. So at any point of time, any component wants to access this common data object, it will give the same object to all the components. Okay, so if I update a value here, okay, let's say if I update count, previously it was 0. Now if this component updates is to 1, okay, now this component will also get count 1. Now if this component updates the count to 2, this component will get the count as 2, because it is accessing the same common operator.
सर बट ये डेडलॉक का सिचुएशन क्रिएट कर सकता है ना?
Deadlock का situation in the sense कि
बिकॉज
like,
ये दोनों कंपोनेंट कॉमन डेटा को साइमल्टेनियसली एक्सेस करेंगे,
हाँ,
तो फिर तो वो डेडलॉक हो गया ना?
कॉमन
या आई
सी
मीन सेम टाइम पे.
ये प्रॉब्लम कब आ सकता है मालूम है? व्हेन यू हैव अ एक ही इंस्टेंस पे, लाइक एक ही क्लाइंट पे मल्टीपल यूजर्स एक्सेस कर रहे तो, और ये कॉमन मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम सर्वर साइड में आता है, बिकॉज सर्वर साइड में ही रिसोर्स को वी एक्सेस थ्रू मल्टीपल क्लाइंट्स. आप जब एक एप्लीकेशन रन कर रहे हो, राइट, एंगुलर फ्रंट एंड के लिए, ओके, फ्रंट एंड में एक ही क्लाइंट एप्लीकेशन को एक्सेस कर सकता है, मल्टीपल लोग एक ही ब्राउजर से एक्सेस नहीं कर
ओके, सो लाइक अभी एंगुलर में ये कंपोनेंट कॉमन प्रोडक्ट कंपोनेंट कॉमन डेटा को एक्सेस करेगा,
सकते.
और तो लाइक अभी तो हम लोग कार्ट का वैल्यू डायनामिक नहीं है, आई मीन रियल टाइम नहीं है.
हाँ, रियल टाइम एक्चुअली कैसे है कि इसने अपडेट कर दिया कार्ड काउंट को, बट एक्चुअली यहाँ पे रियल टाइम नहीं अपडेट हो गया, बट यहाँ से वैल्यू लेने के लिए हम लोग को एक फंक्शन कॉल करके फिर लेना पड़े.
हाँ, एंड व्हाट इफ वो फंक्शन हम लोग को मैन्युअली कॉल नहीं करना है, ऑटोमेटेड चाहिए वो.
डायरेक्टली वैल्यू चाहिए,
हाँ,
तो
यस.
उसके लिए हम लोग को फिर RxJS सीखना पड़ेगा, जहाँ पे हम
तो
लोग
सही
रियल
होता
टाइम
है
में
वो.
डेटा.
ओके, तो लाइक एसिंग का वेट भी हो सकता है, फिर टाइम आउट भी ले सकते हैं ना हम
सेट, हाँ, सेट टाइम आउट यूज करके भी कर सकते हो.
ओके.
Using set timeout also we can do it. I will tell you. I will show you. Set interval, not set timeout.
हाँ हाँ,
Set interval use करके we can do it. Okay. But that is also possible. But set interval use करोगे, so वो continuously check करता बैठेगा. Okay. Which is not a good way, right?
ओके.
But by using observable pattern, we can do it. वहाँ पे continuously वो check नहीं करता बैठा. As soon
तो
as
फिर like जब भी अपडेट होगा तब भी वो उसको
तभी उसको मिलेगा.
Okay.
It's like when you use set interval, we are pulling the data. We are continuously asking the data, right? That's a pull technology. Now, it's a pull mechanism. Now, in pull mechanism, we are continuously asking the data. So we are utilizing resources more and more. So when you use this kind of mechanism in, let's say, mobile, so it will continuously drain your battery. Okay, so if you set interval, if you are checking it for, let's say, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, continuously if you check it, and if you just keep your application open, okay, this will continuously drain your battery. Okay, because you are continuously asking for it. But in the push technology, whenever the data is available, you are just pushing the data. So observable pattern is nothing but pushing the data. So whenever the data is available, you just show it. Okay, we are just listening. We are silent. We are not pulling. We are just silent. Whenever the data comes to that particular object, we are just displaying. So in that case, your client battery is not drained. Okay. So that's the reason we have like socket programming and all. So we'll see that like that's in Node.js part. But yeah. So understood everyone?
Yes, yes.
Dependency injector.
The
So Angular
sequence, like, is the sequencing matters in this? Like, if the app component is calling this DI, dependency injector, and basically the card count before even it is created. Or does it matters like if the product list component is getting called first or app component is getting called?
It doesn't matter.
If I'm getting it.
So whenever someone asks for a object, okay, first time the object is created, next time the object will not be created. Okay, and
And
that
the,
too, that also depends like uh, further when in Angular, when we come to the services part, we can uh, provide the dependency globally, or we can provide it through module itself, or we can provide it through component itself. Okay,
Mhm.
that I will show you later on. But we can provide it globally as well. Right now what we are seeing is nothing but global.
Okay.
So the
And just
component.
because we have this common data in both
Mm.
our app component and product list, that's why this current scenario is working, right? If we remove the common data from app component, it won't work.
Yeah, it won't, basically you will not get the value of common data, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you need an object. And if you directly do this without creating an object, okay,
Mm-hmm.
so this is like you are calling a get count method on undefined object, null object.
Hmm.
It will give you error,
Okay.
right? Because there is nothing I have assigned yet here, right? So there is no memory allocated for this. So you'll get a error here.
And where are we calling this get count method? Maybe I missed it somewhere.
Okay. We are actually created a button, and on this button we are
Oh, okay.
implemented
Conflict.
click method, get count method. We are calling this get count. Okay.
Yep.
Now, understood everyone? Any questions?
तो फ्रंट एंड पे डीडोस अटैक हो सकता है.
फ्रंट एंड पे वी कैन नॉट, मतलब आप ये नहीं कर सकते, उसको क्या बोलते हैं,
थ्रॉटलिंग नहीं हो सकता ना.
थ्रॉटलिंग, मतलब आप अगर एप्लीकेशन बैकएंड से सर्व कर रहे हो, तो आप वहां पे लाइक सर्वर पे आप वो मैकेनिज्म इंप्लीमेंट कर सकते हो डीडोस
हाँ,
अटैक ये करने के लिए। बट
जैसे कि
फ्रंट
अभी
एंड
अभी
पर तो
एंगुलर
ब्राउजर
पे
पे है,
नहीं होगा ना. हाँ.
ब्राउजर पे कोई कुछ नहीं कर सकता।
ओके.
बट जब ब्राउजर से हम लोग क्या करते हैं, अल्टीमेटली यूआरएल ही कॉल करते हैं, तो यूआरएल जाता है सर्वर पे, और सर्वर से हम लोग इम्प्लीमेंट कर सकते हैं डीडोस अटैक वगैरह प्रिवेंट कर सकते हैं।
ओके.
Okay, understood everyone? This dependency injection mechanism.
यस.
Okay. So this is like common in every programming language. This is a pattern. Okay, this is a dependency injection pattern. Okay, this is a design pattern. Okay, so most of the programming languages you will see this dependency injection pattern. Okay, like in Java also we have a dependency injection, in PHP, Python. There also you can use dependency injection. That's a design pattern. Okay, so Angular has this inbuilt for us. We can directly use it. Okay, now how can we now implement it here? Okay, now to do this, we have to make your class as a service class. Okay, we have to make your class as a service class. Okay, because through service only your Angular or can Angular can uh, use dependency injector. Okay, but that service class, just it cannot be just a service class. There should be a decorator that should be applied to that class, which will actually tell your dependency injector that this is going to be a dependency injector class. Okay, so how can we do it? So we can create a service class for it. Right now whatever we have created is, it's a simple class. Okay, to make it to make this class as a service, okay, we have to write @injectable. Okay, we have to write @injectable, and in this you can write a metadata. Okay, now you can create a service class like this, but I'm going to show you how to create a service class using uh, directly through command line interface. I'm going to keep this class as it is just for your reference. Okay, and we will create a separate service class, okay, for our new implementation. Okay, which will have the same things. Okay, just it will be a separate class service. So I'll stop this one. Now to generate a service class, I can use ng, g for generate, s for service. You can write service whole word as well, or you can simply write service uh, s letter, and then the service name. So I'll say product. I want to create a product service. Okay. So what this will do is, this will create two files. Okay, actually One is for spec file. Okay, so I don't need this spec file. I'll remove this one. And there is a product service. So you can see it has created a class and it is already doing at the rate injectable. So whatever I was showing you to you here, it has done the same thing for us. So when you create a service, it automatically does this at the rate injectable. Okay, there is one metadata parameter is here provided in root. That means this service is provided in root, like globally. This service is provided globally. That means the instance of this service is same for globally. Okay, that means for any component, whenever the component access for this product service, you will get only one instance. Okay, there will not be more than one instance because we have provided it in a root. Okay, so root means global. Okay, now here I'm going to write the same things. Same, I will use it here. Sorry. Okay. Okay. Now the variable is okay. I'll close this one. I don't need this class. I'll just keep it as it is for your reference. So here the service is created. Okay. Now you have a service created. Now how do you use this service in your component? Okay. Now as I told you, we have to ask dependency injector that I need object of this product service. How do you ask? Okay. First of all, we need a object here. Yeah, obviously I need to comment this one. Okay, so I'll comment it. So I need an object of this. So I'll let's say product service colon product service. Okay, so this is just the object. Now I need this object. Okay, so I'm going to ask dependency injector. How are you going to ask dependency injector? So you can ask dependency injector through constructor. Okay, so through constructor you can ask dependency injector that I need this object of this class. So how can you do it? You can copy the same and paste it here. Pass it as a parameter. Okay, you can, let's say I will say PS just to avoid the confusion. I'll name it as PS variable, or let's say I'll name it as product service here and I will name it PS here. Let's say PS here itself. Okay, so what I will do when I say this, okay, when I pass create a parameter here for product service, okay, I can name any variable. So what Angular will do, Angular knows this is a product service and this is injectable. Okay, that means I can create an object of it and provide this. Okay, so through constructor I will get an object in this PS variable. I can use this PS variable to assign it to my local variable. Okay, so I can assign this PS variable to this product service variable. So through constructor I'm injecting variable object or product service here, and then I'm assigning it to a local variable. Okay, so now let's use this product service here. Okay, and do sorry, I'll keep this one and uncomment product service. Okay, so here I'm incrementing the card count of product service object. Okay, you can see that I'm not creating a new object here. I'm assigning just a variable which has been passed to me by a dependency injector. Okay, so I'm not creating a new object here. I'm not using new keyword here. Okay, so that means the object has been passed by a dependency injector. Okay, now this whole thing that whatever we are writing this in a 3 lines, we can do it in a single line itself. Okay, how? I'll copy this and comment this one. I can comment this one. Okay, this product service variable I can directly write it here. Okay, and to make this variable as a class variable, I can simply write private or public before this. Okay, and I don't need this line. Okay, so the thing that we have done here, we can do it in a single line itself. So this is a TypeScript thing. So we can create a variable through constructor itself. So in a constructor, if you create a variable using private or public, okay, it will be considered as a class variable. So the same thing which we have done in a three lines, we can do it in a single line. Okay, you just have to write private or public, whatever you want to do. Okay, so I am preferring private because I don't want to use this per product service outside of this class. So I'm preferring private here. Okay, so the same thing can be done here. So this is like same thing doing here. Now I got a product service. Now the value is incremented. Okay, you can check it out. Okay, I'll just run this one and check whether the count is incrementing or not on line number 13 in product service. Come to store, refresh. Okay, add to cart. You can see product service line number 13, 1, 2, okay, 3. So value is incrementing. Okay, that means the value is incrementing. Now let's check. When I click on this, I should get the value. I need to make a change in app component. Okay, how can I do it? I'll comment this one. Sorry. I'll do the same thing here. I'll just copy and paste it. Okay. I need to import this product service. Imported. There you can see product service. Okay, imported. The same thing I need to do here as well. Now I'll use the copy, paste, and comment product service. Instead of common data, I will use product service. Okay. So here also I'm not creating an object. I'm just getting an object from dependency injector through constructor. Okay. Let's save it and check now. Okay. So it's refreshed. I'll add to cart C1, 2. So value I'm getting 2. Now let's click on this and check what the value I'm getting. You can see the value is changed to 2. That means I got 2 value. Okay. If I change this cart 3, I'm getting 3 value here. If I click on this, I'm getting the updated value 3. This proves that the single instance has been used in your application for this product service. Okay. So that's how you can share the data. Okay. I can see I don't need to use input and output, but I can still share the data between different components. Okay. By using a single instance of that service class. Understood, everyone?
Yes.
Okay. See, it's the same class. Only difference is I have added this at the rate injectable provided in row. Okay. The rest of the thing is same. Okay. And the way I'm using this product service or injecting is nothing but through constructor. Rest all I don't need. I don't need this object. I don't need to create this object. Okay. I can directly use this product service variable inside this. Okay. And I can get the value. I can increment the value. Okay. Understood, everyone? You can write it down now. Anyone has any doubt? Rajesh, Sonali, Balaji, Sagar, Rishikesh, Priyanka.
No, sir.
Okay.
No.
Cool.
So basically, just injectable add करके we can make
Yes, you can do
technically
it.
the data global, right?
Yes. I have kept this common data separately because just for your reference, I have created a product service. You can also create a separate service for that because we are going to use the same service later on. Okay, for various other purposes as well, like API integration and all. So I would recommend keeping the same class name. Write it down.
Done.
Done, everyone?
Yes.
Sonali, did you not understood, or actually didn't see your message?
Done, sir.
Okay. Okay. Got it. So I don't know what was that no for. It's okay. So is everyone done with this code? Now I am so. Okay, so आगे बढ़ते हैं. So see the product service, when I say the provided in root, okay, so it is provided as a global object, okay, so which we can see it here, okay, but sometimes it may happen that you don't need it globally. You may need it for particular module, or you may need it for particular component itself. You don't need it globally. Okay, you can create your own modules, or you can create your own components which can be reusable, and that component is only using the service. Okay, so in that case, it's not necessary to provide it in a root level. Okay, so how do you do that? You can do that by removing this provided in. Okay, you can just remove this provided in root. Okay, I'll just comment this one. Okay, you can remove provided in root, and then wherever you want to use this product service, okay, just provide it there itself. Okay, so I want to use it in product list component. So here I'll add a comma, and then I'll specify providers array. Okay, in this provided array I will specify the product service. Okay, now here you can see I am not providing it in a root. I'm providing it in a product list component only. So when I when I access the object in product list component, I will get the object. But when I try to access the same object in app component, you are not going to get it. You will get an error because I haven't provided it here. Okay, because that object is not provided here. Although I am injecting it from this, but since it is not provided in root, I'm not going to get an object here. Okay, you can check it out. You can see no provider for product service. You can see that in uh, app module or app component. Okay, you can see that in app component it is showing an error because we haven't provided it in here. Okay, let's say I provided it here. Okay, okay, so I'm providing it here. Now in both the cases I'm providing it differently. Okay, it is not provided it through globally or root level. It is provided separately for product list and separately for app component. That means the object for this product service is different for both of them. Okay, you can see now. Okay, if I click on add to cart, value is updating, but if I click on this, you see get count is still 0. That means both the components are using different objects of the same service. Okay, although I haven't created it using new. Okay, I haven't created product service object using new keyword. Still, I'm getting different object. Okay, this can be like useful uh, when you are just want to access object for that particular component for that particular module. So if you want to provide it through module, you can go to module, and here also you can add a providers array, which I have said you here, like provide services interceptors here. So here we can provide a service like this, okay, product service object. And then for that particular module, only the object will be same. For another module, you can provide it, but the object will be different. So that means every component available in app module will have the same object of this product service. And for different module, the component which is trying to access the product service will have a different object for it. Okay, because the module is provided differently. Okay, so that's how you can provide it for that particular component. Now when I'm saying for this component, the product service is provided through this component, that means this product service object is same for this component and its child component as well. So if I'm using star component and inside the star component I'm using product service object, that means that the product service object is shared between the child component and private parent component. Okay, so that's how we can provide it through component or model. Okay, and if you want to provide it through root, then you need to provide it using provided in root. Okay, understood everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I'll just keep this one as it is and I'll add a comment here. Uh, can also try it out with them. So that's how you can use a service to share a data. Understood everyone? How we can share a data between multiple components using service.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so we will actually stop here. Okay, because from here onwards we are going to start with a new topic which is nothing but RxJS. Okay, and RxJS is a totally new topic. So if I start it now and then continue tomorrow, it will be like a break. So I'll continue in the next lecture itself. And for like I guess for 1 or 2 lectures, we will continue with RxJS. Okay, RxJS is a totally different new topic. It's actually not related to your like Angular, but yeah, we'll see that in the next lecture. And we'll after that we will continue with our cart logic where we want to implement this functionality in real time. So when I click on add to cart, this should be updated. This number should be updated in real time. Okay, right now this is not real time. When I click on this, then I have to click here, then I am getting the number. Instead, when I click on this, it should automatically update it here. Okay, without doing any click here. Okay, so that we will do, but after learning through RxJS. Okay, so everyone understood the purpose of using service in Angular.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, and also the dependency injection pattern, because interviewer may ask you this dependency injection, so you should be aware of it.
So how are we setting the value? I missed that thing.
Which value?
The cards, the number which
It's the
is
same
changing.
thing. We are using the same parameters here, like same methods: increment card
Uh,
count, decrement card count, and get card count.
in app.component.html where we created that button.
The same way, we are using get count method, and
Uh,
here we are setting the cart value using the method get count method,
mhm. And
and we
in
are using cart
HTML, sir, in
value.
HTML.
We are using the string interpolation.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So we'll stop here. We'll continue in the next lecture tomorrow, 8 p.m. Oh, sorry, 7 p.m.
Okay, sir. Thank
Sure.
you.
Okay.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Welcome.
Thank you.